In this video, we're gonna go over 5 things that I wish I knew before I got myself into music production, and hopefully you guys don't make the same mistakes that I did. What up guys, my Ian here with another video. So when I first decided to start making music, I went to this festival in Guatemala. It was called Semana de Música Avanzada, and I saw a video on how some DJs and music producers in Guatemala were making music, and I was like, okay, that doesn't look hard. I want to do it. I've always liked music, so why not? I'm gonna give it a try. I went ahead and just bought, like a MIDI controller, and I thought that that's all I needed to start making music. Then, I was like, no, there's so much more to learn. The first thing that I wish I knew when I was first starting to make music is, forget like the MIDI keyboard, like the DAW and all this other stuff. I wish I knew like music theory. Like music theory is gonna make your music production way better, and you're going to understand how to like make the sounds that you have in your head way faster, and it's going to make it sound good. One of the things that I wish that I had is this like chord wheel. This book is like 12 pages long, and it goes through, the chord progressions and like how to compose music and how to like make things sound better by understanding music theory. So the cool thing is that, this wheel rotates and those are the keys in that chord, and then you're gonna be able to use those after, you understand how they are all connected. That's kind of like the first thing that I wish that I would have learned before I started like getting gear and like all this other stuff, because yeah, that's the cool part, like getting the gear and like getting all like the stuff that you think you need. But like learning music theories is the first step. This is like the foundation. The second thing, start evaluating the type of DAW that you want to get. So a lot of the people that have tutorials here in YouTube, they use a DAW that they have been using for a long time because it's comfortable for them. I would say that 90%, 95% of the DAWs do the exact same thing in a different way, and they all have like a different quality of sound and different like ideas on how you should like produce music. But that is one thing that the decision has to come for your needs. When I first started making music, I started using Ableton, and the reason why I got Ableton is because like all the tutorials and everything that I was watching, it was in Ableton. Now I use Logic, and I started using Logic because when I started working with other producers in different studios, that's kind of like what they use. I love Logic. I think it's great, but that's something that you have to make the decision for yourself, like what makes sense, and since you're starting, there's like free trials of DAW, so you don't have to commit to one. I would do that. Just download the free trials, see which one feels better. But I find that I can do the exact same thing in all the other DAWs, and Logic for me is the one that I use. So the third thing that I wish that I knew is what MIDI controller is the controller for me. I think that this is something where you have to like actually like sit down and think about what you want to do, because if you want to start buying like hardware synthesizers, not like producing only in the computer, then the type of MIDI controller that you need, it's a little bit different. Like I started with an MPK 25. And that was good when I was like in the computer, but then when I started like getting into wanting to like buy hardware synthesizers, that one didn't actually quite work without a computer. So, like if I wanted to like buy a Core Volca, even though they do have like their own like little keyboards and like sequencers, I think that having something that can like connect with that, it makes such a difference. So in my experience, I think that this is the best one that you can get. The best for the price as well, is the Arturia KeyStep Pro. It has 32 keys. You can control 16 MIDI channels with it. It doesn't have to be connected to the computer for you to be able to control a hardware synthesizer. It can connect to a modular synthesizer. So if you're wanting to get into modular, this is a cool thing to have. You can clock modular with it. You have the MIDI output as well, and you can also connect it to your computer and work with it in your VSTs and plugins. So I think it's great. It also has an arpeggiator. It has a sequencer mode, time division. I think this is the best thing. I know it's not as portable as like a 25 key keyboard, but at the same time, like I don't know. I would fit this in my backpack and just take it everywhere. So yeah, this is something that I would advise. I know that Arturia came out with like their new version, which is like they merged the Keystep Pro with the Beatstep Pro, and it looks amazing. I think that if I eventually have to get a new MIDI keyboard, I think I'm gonna get that one. This one you can buy for like $80 used, or you can buy for $125. The new one is like $500. So yeah, but still, it's an investment that you're going to use for the rest of like your music production career. So something to consider. So the next element, or the next thing, is headphones, right? When you're first starting, you're going to start making music with your headphones. It might be that you have, like a set of Beats or, Skull Candy and like all this other stuff, because, you like listening to music while you're, hanging out. But those headphones are made for consumers, right? So what I mean about made for consumers, they're made for people that don't care about the process of making music. They just want to hear the final result. The frequencies are colored, right? So like if you take a set of like Beats headphones or Bose or like whatever, like the bottom end, is going to feel different. And if you get, for instance, like a set of headphones like the ones that I use, which are the Sennheiser's HG300, the bottom end is not as pronounced as, for instance, like one of like the commercial type of headphones. So yeah, make sure that they're comfortable, and it is something that you might want to consider, investing in, that it's in your budget as well. But this set of headphones for me, the low end frequencies, they really work with my music production when I have to produce, with headphones. Try to get something that feels comfortable. Audio Technica has some like really good headphones for music production, and there's like a bunch of like Sennheisers and like so like it's going to depend on your budget, but try to get something that doesn't color the sound. The fifth thing that I would recommend for you to get is the audio interface. So at this point, after you learn music theory, you figure out your DAW and you know it, and you know what you're doing with your DAW, then you have your headphones. Then at that point you might be interested in like maybe getting together with a friend that can play the guitar if you don't know how to play the guitar, or if you have a guitar around your house that you might want to put into play in your music production. You might need something to connect that music that you're creating to your DAW, and then at that point the interface becomes something that you really need. It depends on what you want. That is also an investment that you have to think about for the future. When I first started making music, I got myself an M audio. It was like an 8-input M audio. It was great for a long time. Then I started, like getting myself into some music studios, and they were using UAD, Universal Audio, and they had the plugins that emulate preamps, EQs, and all this other stuff. That are really helpful because you don't have to like break the bank to get, like a Manly, for instance, that is like $10,000. You can buy it for like $200. And then, that started to make sense to me, because if I wanted to get the sound that I had in my head, with like mixing and all this other stuff, then I needed something similar. So that's when I bought, the Apollo Twin. As you start getting like more into hardware, synthesizers and all this other stuff, that is something to consider. But if you're just thinking, oh, I just want to write a song, for my girlfriend or for my mom or whatever, then at that point you might just need a mic input, so you might just want to get like a 2 input like interface, and that should be good, right? It all depends on like where you're like seeing yourself in the next 5 years, and that's the type of investment that you should make. Those are like the 5 things that I wish I knew based on an experience. I spent a lot of money trying to figure out what I needed, and I wish that I kind of like knew that. I'm more of a hands-on type of person, so asking questions comes later after I'm like kind of like stuck in the mud. If you like what you are seeing in my channel, I'm gonna leave some other playlists so you can like check out some other videos. And if you really enjoy what you're seeing here, please click the bell, click subscribe so you can get more videos from me. All right, guys, bye.